Welcome back, I'm Adrienne, and today we're discussing books that made me cry. Now, I'm not a person who likes crying at all, and I will go out of my way to avoid a book that might make me cry. However, this list of books here caught me off guard, sometimes in the best way possible, and made me cry. So whether you're looking for a book to give you a good cry, or you're trying to avoid books that might make you shed a tear, here is a list for you. So I put these in order of least amount of tears shed to a full out sob session, a tier ranking, if you will. So the first one I'm going to start off with was actually happy tears. And that was from Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. This book is a cozy mystery following a woman named Vera Wong who owns a tea shop that really isn't getting as much business as it used to. She only has a couple of loyal customers left. Her son really doesn't spend much time with her. Her husband has passed away, so she's a lonely older woman. And one day she walks into her tea shop and there is a dead body. And this really spices up Vera Wong's life. She now has police in her tea shop investigating a murder, and she herself decides that she's gonna help solve this crime. Now, what takes place after that is Vera Wong starts interviewing people, interrogating them to try to figure out who done it. Through the process, she ends up creating this little found family that is so sweet, and I didn't want any of them to have committed the crime. And by the end, I was just in happy tears, just a little tear shed at how sweet and wholesome it was, and just the joy of Vera finding this group of people who love her and she loves and she was spending her time with. Oh, it was so cute. Next up, I have The Other Side of Night by Hamdy. This is another mystery, which again is why I did not know that I would be crying while reading this. This book is structured in a way that we're following a man reflecting on his life and talking about his biggest regret, which is being separated from his son. And then we're also following this female detective who is investigating a crime, and one of the people she goes to talk to is a guy who she had this intense first date, love at first sight connection with, who then ghosted her. So she is dealing with those feelings while also trying to figure out who committed this crime. And then things take quite a turn, which I won't tell you because it's a fun surprise. But by the end of this book, we're just discussing family and love. And there's also some big decisions that have to be made out of love. And it was just beautiful. I'm pretty sure I finished reading this in a restaurant and I had to go to the parking lot so I could go shed a few tears. It was sad, it was beautiful, and it was worth a cry. And I don't mind that I cried because it was just a lovely story. I would highly recommend if you're open to a mystery becoming just a beautiful story. Next up, I have An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. I don't remember what my expectations were going into this. Crying caught me off guard. This is a general fiction novel where we're following this married couple who, at the beginning of their marriage, the husband gets arrested for a crime that they both know he didn't commit. They were together at the time, but he is falsely accused, found guilty, and sent to prison, which that alone is absolutely gut-wrenching. But then just seeing these two process it, so following the wife who's left behind that knows her husband didn't commit the crime, he is now gone in prison and she's trying to figure out how to live life. Does she move on? And just making these really tough decisions on her own after being a happily married newlywed. So years pass, she has moved on a little bit, and then her husband's conviction is overturned. There is evidence that he did not commit the crime and he's released. So then the highs and lows of what that means now for their lives, how having someone out of prison when neither of them expected that has completely upheaved her life in particular. And then the consequences of an innocent man going to prison, the way that prison can change you to your core as a person was heart-wrenching. Such a complex relationship between this couple, and they're both trying to be true to themselves and also wanting to respect the other person and how their life should be. Oh my gosh. This one made me cry a little bit more. Just all these tough decisions. I hate making decisions. And I can't imagine. And they're so devastating. Like any decision that you make can be devastating. So it was just beautiful, beautiful. I loved it. Next up, we have The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. I think I read this book when it first came out, so maybe I didn't know that people get grabbed by the heartstrings when they read it. But in this, we're following Addie Larue. I think it starts off in like the 1800s, and she's betrothed to marry someone. And she's like, I don't know, out praying to the gods or something that she doesn't have to go through with it. This god or demon fella comes up and says, I can get you out of this, but you have to make a deal with me. She makes the deal, not realizing that the consequence of that will be anyone she meets in her life, which is now a very long life, past a normal lifespan, no one will remember her. So anyone she encounters will then forget her, like as soon as she leaves the room or she's out of sight for like 10 seconds, their brain will completely wipe her from their memory. That's obviously devastating. How do you rent a place to live? How do you find love? How do you have any relationships with meaning? And watching her go through, it like skims through a couple hundred years or something, and we're seeing like the encounters she has and just the consequences of this deal. And then fast forward to our present day timeline in New York City. She walks into a bookstore for the second time, and the bookseller there remembers her. That concept alone, beautiful, right? But then what happens further in the book, which I won't tell you, I had some devastating moments for me. Now, I don't think this is the best book ever, but I have certain things that will make me cry no matter what. And this had one of those things. So I cried a bit more on this one. A good amount, like fully wet face, tears dripping down. This one got me in the heart. Next up, Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. I love this book. This is a mystery thriller once again, but this one is kind of turning a mirror on people who enjoy true crime, people who find like real life crime entertaining. People follow these cases that people like get crushes on murderers because they're cute. And this is kind of following a fictionalized version of the Ted Bundy case, but we never learn the serial killer's name because he's not important. We don't need to discuss his name, but we're following these college girls who are involved with a murder that happened. I think it was their roommate or something. And we are following them, like how they are treated during this case, being witnesses, whether they're believed or not. And then we're following some other characters as well and learning their story and finding out like how they all connect. You know, while you're reading this that the crimes are still happening, and there comes a point where we have to witness the crime. And we also have a future timeline where we're following someone who is testifying against the serial killer. So we know this murder is coming, and it's just so sad to watch. It's honestly hard to even think about. Oh my God. But it was 100% did what it wanted to, which was make you truly, truly think about the victims, truly empathize, sympathize, see how real these things are. So like when we're watching the court case 3 years later, you know, gossiping about it and talking about it, think about those victims. Who were they? Remember their names, and really put into perspective what we are talking about here when we're talking about murders and things like that. But so devastating to just know this crime is coming. You weren't quite sure who it was going to be, and just like having to watch and not be able to stop it, it was just so sad. Like my eyes are prickling a little bit talking about it. Oh my goodness. This book is so good. All right, next up, When Breath Becomes Air by Kalanathi. This one, I had to be in a self-destructive mood when I picked it up. It's literally about a guy who we know is going to die before the book starts. And I don't know what possessed me to pick this up. I think I was just hearing great things about it, and maybe I needed a short book. I don't know. But this book follows a doctor who found out that he had cancer, terminal cancer that he probably was not going to survive from, and he is writing this book. And when that happens, he continues to write his book. He updates us about his cancer updates as they're happening. And one of the things that guaranteed to make me cry, someone who knows they're going to die, and that looming, whether it's fiction or a real story, which this is nonfiction if I didn't mention. If somebody knows they're going to die, I am just devastated. Like, if I learned that I was going to die, obviously I know I'm going to die, but if I learned like you probably have 2 weeks to live, I would not be one of these people out here having a good time. I would not be fulfilling my lifelong dreams. My life would be over as soon as I learned that. And that's why I cried so stinking much. Like, him carrying on, doing what he was trying to do, writing his book as like treatment ravaged his body. Oh my God. That is so sad. And then literally his wife finishes the book like after he passed away. Oh my God. That's so sad. It's so sad. And I don't even know if I loved the book. I mean, it was everything that it could be. But just the knowing he was going to die, I was just flipping the pages, crying and crying. But it must have been good enough that I kept going and I didn't just say, okay, that's enough crying for me, I'll put it down. It was good. It was good. And finally, which feels so funny to talk about this book after like a real person dying. I'd love to know what happened to my cover here, but this is One True Loves by Jenkins Reid. This is one of her older ones before she got so big and famous. But I read this years and years ago, and my main memory of it is literally just crying. So this is way less serious of a topic. But in this book, a woman's husband goes, I don't know, to Alaska or something, and the aircraft that he was flying on crashes. She assumes he's dead because, you know, it crashed into some mountains and the body was not recovered. He's pronounced dead. She grieves and grieves and then moves on with her life with someone new for a while. And then he is found. I don't know if he survived like 5 years in the wilderness. The story doesn't actually dig into that, which I kind of appreciated because this story was enough without also adding in like a survival story. So he comes back and obviously he is so ecstatic to see his wife and his family. And I'm sure like his wife waiting for him like helped him get through day to day when he's living in the Alaskan wilderness and surviving. But when he comes back, she's with someone and she obviously is so torn because one is her husband and the other one is someone who she has committed to because she thought her husband was gone. And she does genuinely love him. So that's why it's called One True Loves, because she has like 2 true loves that are now together at the same time. And she has to decide like who's the one true love. I was crying through most of the book. I'm telling you, people knowing that they're gonna die or like making tough decisions that like have big consequences wreck my emotions. So this one I was just crying and crying. We're seeing her interact with her husband. We're seeing her reflect on falling in love with her, I don't know, boyfriend, fiance, maybe. It was just devastating to me. I don't know if everyone cries all the time that they read this, but I think I read it in probably 2 sittings. And I read it the first sitting, I was crying, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna set this aside, wait till I have a window to just read the rest of the book and cry. And I remember like anticipating it. Like I was waiting to get through my workday so I could go home and just read this for hours and cry. And I literally laid on the couch reading for hours, crying and crying in like a fun way. Like this book actually made me realize when people are intentionally choosing books to cry and have a good cry session. I had a great cry session. I had a fantastic cry session with this one. So that was a good time. And with that, those are the books that made me cry. I'm sure I have other books that made me cry, but these are the ones that like I just have a strong memory of the tears when I read them. So now it's in order of most tears at the top to least at the bottom. Please let me know what books made you cry that like you actually enjoyed the crying session, because talking about these makes me feel like I haven't cried in probably a few months. Like I probably could use a little duct clean out and maybe I'm ready to cry again. So crying can be fun. On occasion, it can be a good time. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you come back to watch another video soon. I will see you then. Goodbye.